Hey everybody, and welcome back to Sports Central. Mark Jackson here along with Neil Duncan for segment number 2.
Which is brought to you by Travelodge, a great partner of Polk County Tourism and Sports Marketing. But I'm really excited about this next interview we have because I've heard in the past that starting a football program from the ground is a very hard task to do, and of course my love for football, I can't wait to talk to our next guest.
Well, we do have a very special guest, as promised at the beginning of the show, and that is Kevin Jones. AD at Warner University for 2 years now, but in the process, not only of changing the sports programs, which we're going to talk about, but also the athletic culture at Warner University. Kevin, welcome to the show, and you know, we'll kick it off with any sports program at a university has its own unique culture, and then you have subcultures within each sports discipline. You've got a challenge because it's a Christian university. You combine that with competition, sometimes you're sort of on the edge, not only you, but the players. How are you handling things, and what are you looking to accomplish here in the next few months, next few years?
Well, first, it's an honor to be here. Thanks for inviting me. It's been a great process, and I think to answer that question, what we really have to start with is getting the right coaches in place. And really it comes down to casting a vision, sharing that vision with everybody who's interested in the sport, depending on what it is. And we started out with football, for example. We've got a great head coach, Coach Jeff Schaum, who's been in the business for a while, and lay the vision out, and that attracts a certain type of people. And that's what we're looking for. So changing the culture within football, I think the reputation alone it's a little bit more physical, maybe barbaric, and so that was the fun thing for us to try to accomplish. And
right.
Jeff and I sat down, I worked at another university, and we knew each other. We talked about starting football there, never worked out. When I started at Warner, I think I was there for just a few hours, and I got a call from him, hey, you're going to start football. So we started that relationship. We cast the vision and shared it with our administration and our board, who are very supportive and just excited about it. So it starts with getting the right guy in charge, getting the right staff that he has on his team. He's hired some great assistant coaches and getting a foundation of who we recruit and how we recruit them. And that's really what we did to start that off with. And still you have surprises. I think any school in Florida could have 300 football players, if they wanted to. There's just such a passion in that sport. Fan base is huge. And what we get, I think when we first announced football, it was in the spring. And we were going to have a squad come in the fall, just a few months later. And we were conservative. We figured we'd have 20, 30 players. We were basically holding the gates closed, and I think we ended up with 86 the first year, and that's just after a few months. And Coach Schaum was alone at the time, so he was going 24 hours a day, working football and getting his vision out there. We got some great people in, great support from the faculty, and again the administration has been great. Our president is real supportive, and he's very involved in what we do, so we're real thankful for that. So it's not easy in changing the culture.
I would think that when you get that phone call, yes, we're going to do football, you were excited, and then it hit you. We're starting football.
Exactly.
Where do you even start to begin? I know you said with the coach, but there's got to be so many things. I mean, all the way down to the athletic tape of wrapping the players.
Right.
I mean, that's a fixed cost.
Yeah, I think that probably our training staff were the first to freak out. Everybody else was excited, but they realized what was involved. But we studied it pretty well, and some of the stuff you still get those surprises. For example, spending so much on athletic tape is something we didn't realize, and goodness, we have 3 ice machines, but that's not going to be enough because these guys all need ice baths, and they're not normal size typically. So, and then the cafeteria folks, it's a little bit different when you have 86 people who like to eat come through the doors, and so it's been fun. It's been a neat process. A lot of prayer, and preparation, and then still you got to realize that every day is going to be different. There's going to be a different challenge ahead, and you just you got to go with the punches, roll with the changes, and try to stay on top of it.
When's your first game?
We start August 31st at Stetson.
So you're away.
We're away.
Okay, that may be a good thing.
It is.
But I know you play Weber sometime this year as well, like in the middle of September, right?
Right. Yeah, we play them in Lake Wales.
Okay.
And it's kind of being across the lake from each other. The Calusa Clash is what we're calling the Calusa Lake Clash. And we've been real involved with them. And to start this program, and like I said, our community at Warner has been very supportive, but the help Weber has given us, and we've met several times, and their staff from their AD, Bill Heath, who's a recent Hall of Fame inductee, great guy, and Kelly's been helping our coaches, and it's just been neat to see that happen. And also with Southeastern starting, there's that feeling that this is an opportunity for Polk County to have 3 collegiate football teams competing, and it's just an impressive thing. And we're all rivals, but I think there's a lot of love between us, and we're all on the same page for what we're doing. So it's been fun. But the game against Weber is going to be real exciting, and starting away helps because we can kind of get the jitters out, take a fan bus, and get things going for our community as well.
We talk about having 3 teams right here in Polk County playing collegiate football. You look at the state of Florida, and when the big 3 are good, college football is better for it. Florida, Florida State, Miami, and you got to think
Florida
that
State a team.
You've got to think that I'm just going to ignore that. You've got to think that kind of same thing. Because you've got 2 games that you don't have to travel very far, so it's good for your program and cost.
Right.
But also the competitiveness and being able to have the Polk County championship versus the state of Florida championship like the big 3 have.
Right.
How will that help in recruiting as far as going against Weber or going against Southeastern?
And one of the reasons we started mission-wise, there's not a Christian college program in the area. Ave Maria is down a bit, but if you're not a D1 prospect in Florida, there were little options until Weber stepped up and started football. A lot of our athletes, especially from Polk County, even go up to the Midwest where they have D3 and NAIA ball more than we did down here. So it really filled a niche that we have, keep our talent in Florida. There's as private schools like Weber, Southeastern, and Warner. There are advantages for staying in state. You get the Florida Resident Access Grant, which is some money there. We don't give full rides for scholarships, but we award heavily academically, as do the other schools. So it's kind of a neat fit. If somebody has the gift in them to play football, and that's something they want to do at the collegiate level, then we want to work towards that and help them answer the call they have in that area of their life. And it's a real neat thing to hear the stories. One
of the things that I think a lot of our viewers are interested in, and questions that have been asked, where are the players coming from?
We have a lot from Polk County, certainly Tampa, Orlando, down in the Miami area. I would say that it's pretty scattered but we do get a lot of Polk County talent.
Any out-of-state kids?
We get a lot of transfers that are interested in.
Really?
What happens is an athlete here at the high school level that does very well decides that they want to play college ball. They're recruited heavily by a school. They realize they get up there, it's pretty cold. They're far from home, and we get a lot of calls saying, I just want to be closer to my family so they can see me play. So they work on transferring down. So a lot of transfers come from Florida that have gone away far from home. They want to come back. And that's been neat to see, and it's been neat to meet all these people. And one of the things that I enjoy is meeting the families and the players that are interested in coming and just getting to know them a bit.
So they're practicing now, I'm assuming?
They begin August 5th for the fall.
2 days.
Yep. He's got Coach Shum and his staff having
going
from 7 in the morning till
What about the
11
academics?
Academics is
the same. They have to have the same kind of ACT, SAT.
Exactly. It's NAIA rules. Which is,
so that's the
we follow that, and you're not eligible unless you meet those requirements.
Right.
Did you meet any requirements, or they just let you in?
I have a degree. That's all I'll say. I have a degree.
There you go.
So tell us about the ins and outs of the recruiting. Because we hit on it a little bit before, but if you're looking for a particular philosophy within your athletic department, and now you have something new, obviously you want to win as quickly as possible, because when you win, you have more people in the stands, you generate revenue, you try to offset some of the costs, because football, I think, is probably the most costly sport to equip for. How do you walk that line? How do you make sure you're getting the best players and adhering to your mission?
It was interesting when I became AD, and we have a great coaching staff in our 19 sports, but we sat down and said together we need to work to build on what was here before. And there was a great AD before me who left, and what we're trying to do is just build on that. And the foundation of I consider us to be a Christ-centered university. Mm-hmm. So we used to look for, in basketball, for example, a 7-footer and say, oh man, I hope he lines up with what we're looking for faith-wise. Well, now we really need to look at what we're looking for as far as a Christian student and say, let's look within that group and look for a 7-footer. So it changes what we do a little bit. And I might add, Warner is evangelistic as far as our Christian faith, where you don't have to be a Christian to go there, but we let them know up front, this is what you're going to experience when you're here. all of our athletes, students, whether they're a math major or a football player, go to chapel twice a week. And we're very heavily involved with Mark Wilson and Scooter and the guys in this area in Fellowship of Christian Athletes, and we require them to go to those things. So, if that's something that maybe they're not a complete buy-in, but they're interested in, then that's something that we hope to use to help build them spiritually, physically, and academically. And you mentioned academics, and that's something that's real important too. Right. We have to recruit honestly. We have to tell them these are what our 27 majors are, right. And we want you to do what you feel like you're supposed to do in your life. What God has put on your heart, we want you to do that. If it lines up with what we do, then let's work and see if we can get you here. Right. So that's real important. It's really a threefold thing between academics, athletics, and spirituality.
Let's talk a little bit more about, or not a little bit more, let's talk a little bit about some of the other sports that you have going on. Softball program, maybe a little bit like football, because there's so much talent. It's a bastion for girls fast-pitch softball talent right. in Polk County. It's just phenomenal. And so many of these kids have good Christ-centered backgrounds, or a Christian worldview, and so on. Katie Clement is your coach, and actually she's a new head coach, but you've got some returning assistant coaches. I know right. that. What are your expectations in softball?
We've been very strong in softball, and Katie was part of the program, and she was an assistant coach last year, and we had, our coaching staff's been great throughout the history with Coach Gary, and then Lindsay Littlejohn Egley was our coach, and she attracted a lot of attention, did a great job. She really worked to rebuild the program. She made some decisions roster-wise to bring in the right people. Recruiting was really good. Katie was part of that, and assistant coach Eddie Martin was in that, and they're just building on that. But Katie brings an excitement, and we had a lot of interest in that position, interviewed a lot of great coaches. But the thing about Katie Clemente that really touched us and those that interviewed her was just her commitment to build on that Christ-centered program in softball. I think skill-wise she's got it, and she is a younger coach. This is her first job, and so that's exciting for me too, to watch her develop and watch her grow into that. But
well, Eddie's returning, Eddie Martin.
Yeah.
And he's good. I talked with him before. Got a new assistant, Rebecca Terwilliger.
Right.
Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Okay. She just. Where'd she come from?
She came from, I believe her playing career included Weber. Okay. But then she is one that, and this may seem weird, but she contacted me and said, I really feel like I want to do something here at Warner. And we talked to her about her softball experience, really impressed with her. And after I hired Katie Clemente, I said, hey, why don't you talk to Rebecca? She was a really good fit for our university, and just see if she matches. And Katie interviewed her like she did the other assistants, said, wow, she's great. Let's see if we can bring her on board. And she really meets what we're looking for. We can, if somebody's interested in mentoring and spending some time sowing into the life of these student athletes, then we'll take whatever we can get from them. And I believe that this is something that's right in her wheelhouse. So it's going to be fun to watch that team develop and the coaching staff.
A lot of new coaches, a new football team. What's next? What's coming down
every day? Boy, I wish I could plan a day, but there's so many fun surprises in this position I never really knew were coming. And the transitions that we've had in adding staff, that's something that continues. I think that as we move on, I think we'll get to the point now where I'd like to see growth stay steady, but for us to take what we have and really improve it. And I'm an AD whose wins, losses aren't the utmost to me. I want to win. I want to be the best small college in the area. We've had some success. Our men's basketball, Sean Hanrahan, has done a great job with men's basketball, gone to the national tournament, and he recruits very well. He mentors well, and things that people don't realize about somebody like him is, he could probably go somewhere and coach and make more money, but he feels a tie into Warner. He has his whole team go to breakfast at his house Sunday mornings, and he takes them all to church with him, and that's stuff you don't see on the win-loss column. So he's winning, but he's also developing his program. We have Jeff Sykes, legend in baseball, been there 30 years. We just inducted him into the Warner Hall of Fame, but he is Warner. I look at him with all our coaches and say, look at Coach Sykes, and this is where we all want to be. We all want to have that impact, and someday, maybe Jeff Sykes Stadium on campus there, he's made such an impact. Bringing in great people like John Dunlop, who was at Southeastern and Weber before that. he's been instrumental in developing the Fellowship of Christian Athletes and the chaplain program that we have within our department.
Good stuff. Well, Kevin, we've unfortunately have to go to break, but we talked pretty much the whole segment about developing the program, your vision for the program, but doing something more for the students there. And if you could sum it all up, I think that the most important thing that you're developing, the student's character. And it doesn't get any more important than that. So congratulations to you. Of course, Warner University is a great institution, great academics, and now a great sports program. So we'll look forward to talking with you more as the football season goes on, which is not too far away, believe it or not. I mean, it's hard to believe it.
Yeah, we're actually talking about sending our PGTV crew out there and getting the first practices and some of that stuff. So we might bring you some of that, a look into starting a football program.
Thanks so much.
Oh, thank
Kevin,
you.
You bet.
Appreciate it.